Welcome to everyone from MyFalconRadio here. We have a very special guest this afternoon, and I do believe that it's probably the most important guest that we'll ever have here.
Other than Jett.
Right.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll bring that up later in the interview. But we do have Dr. Sandra Woodley, our new president here, joining us to talk a little bit more about sports and athletics. So, Dr. Woodley, how are you?
I'm fantastic. It's a little bit like drinking from a fire hose 1 month in, but yes, I'm having fun.
Cool. So, speaking of that water hose, we see you're very active in the student body. What is your favorite part of being out in that student body, out at our local events where the students are getting acclimated before the semester starts?
Students are energy, and I've spent most of my career in boring system jobs, and every opportunity that I had over the last 20 years to be on a campus and to be associated with the students, that's why we do this, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I did that, and so what an honor it is to be the president on a campus and have the opportunity to spend time and interact with the very people that we're here to serve. So I love it.
Yes, ma'am.
So any opportunity that I have to be around the students, I'm going to take it.
So I'm pretty sure you're going to love being out at sporting events with us.
Oh, yes.
Now, with all the sports that we offer, we want to give a little more insight. Do you prefer a certain sport? Do you have a personal connection to a certain sport? If so, what is it and why?
Well, I think they're all important, and I think the ecosystem of the sports that we have here at the university, it's important beyond athletics to me. As far as a personal connection, of course, I'm from Alabama, so football is, I'm an Auburn grad.
Yes, ma'am.
So football's pretty important in Alabama like it is in Texas. But yes, when I was in high school, I played volleyball and I ran track. And so all of the sports, I think, are going to be really exciting to watch this year.
Cool. And we've done our research here at MyFalconRadio, and we know that you come from you spent time in Alabama, Louisiana, Arizona, and Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Arizona and Kentucky are considered more of a basketball state, while Alabama and Louisiana are majorly football heavy. What can you bring from living in those places to West Texas as far as an athletic standpoint? Maybe a change of culture, maybe legislation help that you've learned from over there to over here. What can you bring?
Yeah. Well, having the diversity in my background, I think, is helpful.
Yes, ma'am.
I was able to see where, you have some schools who place a much more intense priority on a certain sport than the other. I remember when I left Alabama to go and work in Kentucky, it was all about basketball.
Okay.
In Alabama, it's all about football. So it was quite a different, basketball culture was a little different than football culture. But when you really do think about it, it's really just that energy and the excitement and the school pride that comes out in the sports that make a difference. And so I think, and the other thing I will say is when I was in the Louisiana system, Grambling State University was one of our programs. And, the brightest spot about Grambling University was the band.
Okay.
I mean, they had like this world-class, amazing band, and if you ever get a chance to see the Grambling marching band, you really have to do it.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I think what that taught me was all of the, the different activities associated with athletics, whether it's your cheer team or your baseball team or your basketball team. It's just the conglomeration of this school pride and this excitement that really adds to the university experience.
Very, very wise words. And of course, we cannot forget to mention our Falcon Band, because we can't wait for you to see them. I believe they'll be right up on their level as well.
Well, I'll tell you, you may not know this, but my first commencement was a few weeks ago.
Yes, ma'am.
And when we sat down to go over the ceremony, I made some changes because I thought the ceremony was too long.
Okay.
And I thought that it wasn't focused enough on the students. So, for example, I remember the first one that I saw, you had the commencement speech, and that was me.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
Those boring speeches, nobody comes to hear a boring speech. But then the students graduated and the mood is really up here.
Yeah.
And then you had alumni speech and then another speech after that. And so then the mood kind of just went. Yeah. So what I did is scrapped all the speeches after the graduation.
Okay.
And then instead of having, that more somber academic march,
Yeah.
I brought the drum line in.
Hey.
So the drum line actually came to the last graduation ceremony, and they stood up on that stage,
Yes, ma'am.
and they lifted up those beautiful beats, and everyone started to celebrate and rejoice the graduates, which I think was, a much better end to that commencement.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I already have seen how great our band is.
That's very good to know, and that I'm proud to say that my president can make those changes and know how to make it more student-centric.
Exactly.
My next question would be, we know you're going to oversee the whole landscape of things here at UTPB, but we do have an athletic director, an interim one at this moment, which is our men's head basketball coach, Andy Newman. Is the search still ongoing for an athletic director? And if so, is there a preference to the athletic director being hired internally and because of their knowledge of the school already, or is there maybe a preference to bring somebody from outside that may have a higher level of experience or qualification?
I don't have a preference whether the person is internal or external.
Okay.
Every search that I will do as president here will be merit-based.
Okay.
And so I want the best of the best wherever that person is, whether they're, kind of in the back office over here, or whether they're from Oklahoma, or even if they come from Alabama. We'll even say that.
Yes, ma'am.
But I've hired a nationally recognized sports search firm.
Okay.
College Sports Solutions. They are about to get started to do a national search for the new athletic director.
Yes, ma'am.
We put together a committee that includes both external stakeholders, those athletic boosters who have already invested in the program and who care about its success, and also faculty and students and others internally that will help us select the best AD. Okay. So for me, the characteristics that I want to see in the next AD is, it's not really rocket science. Yeah. I want someone who has the managerial skill and the ability to run what is a major business enterprise.
Yes, ma'am.
Someone with the business savvy to be able to help me as the president go out and seek resources for the program. Yes. Someone who can work with me with our enrollment management to make sure that we recruit strong student athletes.
Yes, ma'am.
Into the program. But I also want someone who can help me look at our athletic program and the facilities associated with the athletic program out 10 years.
Yes, ma'am.
We want to do a long-term strategic plan. So I have very high expectations for the person who will be the next athletic director, and we're going to search far and wide and bring someone in as quickly as we can to help us make sure that our athletic program is competitive and adds to the academics as well.
Yes, ma'am. And of course, for those of you who don't know, there are plans to construct a whole new kinesiology building with football locker rooms, including academic classrooms and so on. So going back to what we talked about in the beginning with Jett.
Yes.
And what me and you have talked about as our second school mascot.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit more about Jett. I know a lot of people have seen him around campus already. We've seen him in your Instagram pictures, Twitter pictures. Tell us a little bit more about Jett.
Okay, a commercial at UTPB Pres.
Yes, ma'am.
Both on Instagram and Twitter. You can see Jett for yourself.
Okay.
Jett I rescued. He looks like a police dog. He's your normal tricolor, beautiful German Shepherd. He's 2 years old. He's a puppy. Yes, my best friend runs a German Shepherd rescue in Alabama, and I rescued him 2 years ago.
Okay.
But he just loves being around the students, and I think they kind of like him too.
Yes, ma'am.
So I talked to Coach Kerrigan today, and I said to Coach, I said, look, Auburn has two mascots, right?
Yeah.
They got the War Eagle
Yes,
and,
ma'am.
And the Tigers.
Yes,
Why can't we have two mascots?
That's true.
The Screaming Falcon and Jett the Falcon dog.
Cool.
And so he said, of course, Jett can be an unofficial mascot. So Jett's going to be around as much as I can. I'll have to get him an orange collar, some bright orange collar or something.
We'll just get him a personalized football jersey.
I like it.
So there you have it, folks. President Woodley here talking a little bit more about athletics, athletic director positions, and even your personal dog. So thank you for being here with us. We look forward to having more interviews here with you in the future.
My pleasure.
Thank you.